Hi folks, it's Evo here from Thundermist Lure Company, and today what we're doing is we're doing some open water trolling for walleye using planer boards and downriggers. I'm fishing with Paul and Antonio today, and hopefully we're going to share some techniques with you and also show you some nice fish being caught here out on Lake Erie. It's a beautiful day, the winds are down right now. It's early morning when you fish with Paul. You get up before the turkeys do, but we're going to give it a go and try and have some fun, so stay tuned. Paul, we're going to deploy those planer boards, I guess. Now tell us what you're doing there.
Okay, basically what I'm doing is I'm just hooking the planer boards up to the planer board line. I use a rubber snubber, take some of the shock out, and all you do is simply let it go.
So you're going to launch that.
Give yourself a little slack, drop her in, and let it go. Let her, it'll pull itself back. As the boat goes forward, the board will pull itself back.
Now you're going to let out how much line there, Paul?
About 100 feet.
And 100 feet will get you how far away from the side of the boat?
Oh, 70 feet or so.
Okay.
That goes out on an angle.
All right.
It's all by eye. I mean, it's a nice calm day, so we can get nice and far away from the boat. We want to get far. Those fish, if they're up near the top, they're gonna spook easy. So you want to get your baits away from the boat. Vipers on the left.
Viper spoons here, and we're going to go with worm harnesses on that side of the boat. So Paul's just rigging up a dew worm here, a night crawler, on a size 2 Viper spoon. Okay, so that's rigged and ready, Paul?
Ready to go.
Okay, we're going to put that on a planer board. So what Paul's opted to do this morning is we're going to run 2 lines off planer boards and 1 line off the downrigger. I like that, Paul. You're getting the net in the ready position.
Oh yeah.
Antonio's keeping us on course. We've got one side of the boat rigged. We've got one planer board out there, 1 dipsy, and 1 downrigger. So the left side of the boat is all rigged up with Viper spoons, and each Viper spoon has a night crawler on it. And now on this side of the boat, Paul, what are we going to use?
We're going to use worm harnesses.
Worm harnesses, okay. So we'll put the worm harnesses on the other side, and we're going to go with live night crawlers again. On this side of the boat, we've got Viper spoons. On this side of the boat, we've got worm harnesses, and they're both rigged with live night crawlers. Well, that fish caught us totally off guard as we're just getting set up, and boom, he hit hard. Now, I can't remember which color Viper spoon we put on there, but...
It's the gold with the green tape on it.
Okay, that's a straight gold, and you put a piece of green prism tape on there, Paul.
Yeah.
All right.
Combination I like.
You like that combo, do you? That's the beauty of the gold and silver Viper spoons. You can add prism tape and customize them as you wish. Okay, now Paul, you've done a nice job keeping that fish straight behind the boat. When you have many lines out, when you're fishing with planer boards and downriggers, it's very important when you hook a fish to have him directly behind the boat so he doesn't interfere with the other lines. And as you can see there, Paul's right up the middle of the boat there, fighting this fish. And actually, Paul, that rod's bent pretty good.
Yeah, he's head shaking good. It feels like a decent fish.
Nice. You're going to have to land them yourself. Antonio's on the helm there, keeping us going, and I'll work the camera.
Yeah, I can see the dipsy. I can see the fish.
Okay, there's the dipsy. There's the fish. Nice walleye. Beautiful. What a way to start our day, Paul.
Oh.
That's a dandy. Hey.
Yeah, that is. We might have another fish here.
Another fish there?
Yeah, it released.
It released?
Yeah.
Okay, now we're in trouble.
Okay, well, we're not in big trouble yet.
All right. Let's take a look at that one, Paul. At this rate, we're not going to get those worm harnesses out. Oh, that's a nice walleye, Paul.
Have those problems.
I love starting the day off this way. You know, we can put a bait fish on those Viper spoons. You don't have to use worms.
Well, why would we change what's working?
All right, you like that, do you?
Yeah.
How big do you think he is, Paul?
He's about a good 7 or 8 pounds.
Beautiful.
A nice start to the day.
Beautiful. Okay. And now you think we might have another one on there?
We got to get going here.
Okay, now that we have a minute, we landed that fish, and just as we did that, we had another dipsy diver go off, and an unfortunate thing happened. The snap broke, and we lost our dipsy. Anyhow, now that we got a minute, let's talk quickly before something happens here about downrigging. And when we downrig, basically, you're putting your line on this clip, And you can put it either in the front of the clip, in the middle of the clip, or in the back of the clip. The further to the back of the clip you go, the harder it's going to be for that lure to release. And Paul, we can also run 2 lures off of one downrigger, eh?
Yeah, you can, if your fish are suspended between 30 or 40 feet of depth on your chart, you can stack lines. You can go down, say 40 feet, leave a 10-foot gap, and then stack a line by clipping this over the wire line, clipping this ahead of the wire line, and then running your bait out this way. Another way with the Scotty stacker is very simple. You clip that on your main line, your wire line, and you run your bait off this right here. Just a matter of stacking. You can put your differential however much you want, whatever your fish are showing on your graph.
So you can fish one lure, let's say at 60 feet, and then another one above it at, say, 40 feet.
Yeah, what you could do is, if you're going to do it that way and you've got 2 or 3 or 4 riggers, you can cover every 4 or 5 feet of water column by stacking, you know, and making sure you're 4 or 5 feet apart on different riggers, but leave a good 10 feet on each rigger. This way your baits won't tangle. If you're running a body bait or you're running a harness or a viper, you don't want your baits to tangle because one will dive, one won't dive.
You know, it's no wonder these Viper spoons are a walleye magnet. Take a look at that action. Look at that flash and flutter. Those walleye will see that flutter from a mile away, and when they come up to the spoon and they see that nice offering on the back, whammo, they hit.
Hi folks, it's Evo here from Thundermist Lure Company, and today what I'd like to do is give you a demonstration on how to rig up this Viper spoon. The beauty of the Viper spoons is that you can fish them with either live bait, cut bait, or artificial bait. And today what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this artificial worm and show you how to properly rig that up so that it maximizes its action and enables you to catch more fish. Let's take a look. So regardless of which bait you use, you want to make sure that your bait remains in a horizontal position like that. And what that allows is that allows you to maximize the action of the Viper spoon, which in fact is 2 different actions with one lure. You have the flash and flutter action of the spoon, which is followed by a different action with your trailing bait. What you want to do is quite simply poke it through the head of the bait and start off like so. Now what you do is you envision where this hook is going to come out of that bait so that it comes out nice and horizontal. So you want to come out about right there. So mark that spot with your fingers and then just poke it straight through that lure like that. And you see how that's resting quite nicely? And you do the same thing here. Take a look at where it's going to come out, pinch it in that spot, and then take the hook, poke it right through there, and there you have, folks, one perfectly rigged Viper spoon ready for some fish catching action. Putting your line in that release.
Yep, set her in, set her down.
And then lower the rigger.
Put the rod in the rod holder. Lower the rigger.
Okay, how far deep are you going, Paul?
25 feet with that one.
25 feet, okay, that's where that one was?
Yes.
And this other rigger on this side with the Viper spoon is how deep?
38 feet, we're going to come up.
We're going to bring it up because it's at 38.
Yep.
Alright, sounds good. Okay, Paul, show me that gold Viper and what you did there before you put that line out.
Okay, what I've done is taken just a plain gold Viper, put a piece of purple and green prism tape on, and a purple eye. I've also put an eye on the back. I put an eye on the back side. I like the eye. It makes a difference, and it seems to be working. That was hit number 1. We weren't trolling 15 minutes, and the Viper paid off.
Okay, so you're going to put that back down with the live worm?
Yeah, we're going back down on the big dipsy at 170 feet behind the boat.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Now, if you would have opted for an artificial worm, you probably could have just reused that artificial, but you and your live bait.
I could have, but I won't.
Paul and I were just going to talk a little bit about downrigging and maybe what to look for in a downrigger. And the downrigger rod popped as we were talking. Now this one's on the worm harness, not on the vipe. This
yeah,
one's on the worm harness.
Trying to get her behind the boat now.
There we go. Nice fish. They're all nice, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
Not as big as the other one.
But these are much nicer to eat.
Nice eating fish for
Yes.
sure, eh, Paul?
Yes, sir.
Look at that. All right.
Here's a nice fish, couple of pounds.
All right, while Paul's repositioning the boat, I just want to show you one thing with these downriggers. A lot of times when you're fishing for walleye, they don't release off the clip. And as you can see, that rod is doubled right over. We got a lot of pressure on that rod. And when you get a hit, that rod will pop up. You can take up the slack and set the hook. However, the walleye don't always release. So you have to keep an eye on your downrigger rod. If you see a little bit of movement on the tip of that rod, pop it and set the hook. If you don't, if you've been trolling for a half an hour, pop the rod anyhow just to check it, because those walleye, they'll hit your bait and they'll just swim with it and you'll never know it. So take time and check your lines, and you know what, if things are really slow, it gives you something to do anyhow. And also, as Paul mentioned, if you want to run 2 lines off your downrigger, or 3 for that matter, just make sure if you use a body bait or anything that dives that you put that down first so it doesn't interfere with your other lines. So I would put a body bait down first, let's say at 60 feet, and then I would put a viper spoon or any spoon or a worm harness above it at say 40 feet and start trolling. Okay, just like the downriggers, the planer board, same thing with the release. A lot of times it doesn't release. If you're fishing for salmon, it's seldom a problem. They pop that release and there's no question when you got a fish. But when you're fishing for walleye, not such. So what you do when you're fishing with planer boards, it's harder to tell, but if you take a look at your planer board line, if it pulls in more than it normally is when you're trolling, that's a sign of a fish. Or secondly, what you could do, as Paul's told me, take your line, reel it in about halfway, and then let it go. And then watch your clip as it slides back down. If it slides back on a slack line and slowly goes back, there's nothing on it. But if it slides back and it's got some pull and some tension on there, take your rod, set the hook, there's a fish on there. So check your downrigger lines, keep a close watch on your planer board lines, and you may have more fish in the boat at the end of the day. Okay, another one on the dipsy. This time we got our driver Antonio on the rod there. And that one's on a viper spoon, eh, Antonio?
Yeah, same color.
Same color, the gold one, Paul?
Gold with the tape.
Beautiful. Sometimes, you know, one color is better than others.
Feel his head shake? Not at all. Not at all.
Keep them right up the middle of the boat, Antonio. Nice. Boy, what an exciting morning. Okay. Oh!
Had a hit and she bounced up on the dipsy and wrapped.
I'm wondering why there was no head shakes.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta tell you folks, it was pretty fast and furious this morning, and then the wind just shut down and the fish shut down. And I've noticed that now the wind, it's been about 2 hours. We've tried changing things up, different baits, different strategies, different speeds, absolutely nothing. And what I found, Paul, is when that wind shifts, those fish just shut right down. And now it's starting to come out of the southwest, just starting, and we have to pick up and leave.
Yeah.
But it's been a good day, though. We had a lot of fun, nonetheless.
Yeah, it has been. We did get into fish this morning. Yeah.
So what do you think? We pop these riggers and
let's
start packing up?
Let's start for home.
And you never know, when we pop these rods, you might even end up catching one.
Yeah, it's possible. Let's give it a try.
Well, as I was saying, when you pop those riggers, sometimes you catch a fish. Paul popped the one, and there's one on there, so Antonio took it and give him a chance to reel in a fish. I actually broke mine off. When I went to pop the line off the release, the line broke. So I don't know, there might have been one on mine too, for that matter. Nice little walleye.
Oh, lift up. Now don't go down. Don't lift up. Straight up. Up, 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 up.
There we go, in the bag. Now I wonder how long we were dragging that guy, because we hadn't checked that rigger for
a while.
quite a while. We went against our own advice.
Yeah.
We got complacent. It was hot and warm, and we just kind of trolling along and having something to eat. We could have been dragging that fish for an hour. Let's take a look at him. That's not a bad fish, Antonio.
Nice.
Good way to end the day, and who knows, we might pick up another fish when we check those other lines. All right, let's get him in the box.